It was a proper race, wasn't it, for the first?
It certainly was. I mean, actually, I wasn't like that in Trafalgar Square. I was absolutely terrified, but mainly because I knew that once the race started, that the hardcore soldiers with the competitive spirit were going to go for it. But actually, I sort of got swept along with it. And when it was called off, we felt rather cheated. Actually, in the Commonwealth team, we thought we'd have had them in a day or two, because the UK took off like rabbits and. We took off like tortoises, but we'd have got them in the end.
So was this about His Royal Highness being in charge of latrines?
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I think I did. Well, he certainly seemed to be for the first week. Whenever we'd turn up, because they were usually ahead of us, and or whenever we had a rest day, he'd dig the pit, and there was a couple of days he's got a real artistic flair to him. He'd have sort of castellated wind barriers and toilet roll holders, and and nice platforms. He's quite good on the architectural side of things, like his dad probably.
Yeah. Well, he should be. The number of castles he lives in.
Yeah, he ought to be. Yeah. No, it was good squatting there and thinking I'm on a royal throne by royal appointment.
And the champagne moment involved a prosthetic. Can you tell us that story? The champagne moment?
Oh, that was the night after we got to the pole, which of course is not a night because it's permanent daytime, so you always think it's 2 p.m. So we drank all night because everyone had saved something for when we arrived, and we had I think half a dozen bottles of champagne, which ended up drinking out of Duncan's legs. So I got some great pictures of people drinking legs of champagne.
Did he mind?
And we were all legless by the end of it.
Did he mind?
He didn't mind, but I wouldn't want to do it sober. His horrible sweaty prosthetic.
And we've seen photos of dancing at the South Pole, clothed. But there are other.
There were naked dancers. Yeah, not me.
Tell us that story. And was Harry involved?
Harry wasn't naked. He was doing quite useful handstands actually. And playing with because the pole, or the ceremony pole, is a barber's stripy pole with a sort of disco ball on top, which Harry discovered you can remove. So he was playing around with that. But I think the Aussies and a couple of Americans got naked and ran around the pole for a bit, which is pretty cool.
That's what they do, isn't it?
That's what they do. That's what Australians do. They're always getting naked, aren't they?
But the Brits didn't. Even the Royal Brit?
The Royal didn't, no. No, it was just the Aussies, I think.
What was the best bit and what was the worst bit? What bit surprised you about
the best bit, unquestionably, was arriving and being led in by Duncan, who's a double amputee and no legs, leading Ivan, who's blind, and all the wounded behind him. It was incredibly moving, and the whole purpose of our visit there came fully home, and it was very moving and very inspiring to see those guys get there. And the worst bit was I remember at one point again it's to do with the latrines, but so much of life is pretty basic there, and I stood up. I think it was on the famous royal latrine, and he dug a very deep pit, unfortunately, because I stood up and I had half a bottle of whiskey in my pocket, which I was about to share with someone, and it fell out into the hole, and I stared at it for about a minute thinking, just let it go, just leave it. And then I thought, actually, no, someone will go and get it. So I found myself in the hole, digging down amongst, frozen, fortunately, waste, and thinking, what has it all come to? Is this really the culmination of my endeavours?
Yes.
That was the worst bit. Yeah, that was a low point.